Hi everyone, my name is Jess, and for those who don't know me, I am married to a wonderful man named Kelly. I'm born and raised in Long Eaton, but at the age of 20 I decided to pack my bags and fly away to sunny California, where I lived for 3-4 years before returning back to England about almost 2 years ago now. I'm just going to be sharing a little bit today about disappointment, which I know is a massive field, especially at the moment, but I think it's something that we can all relate to in some way over the last few months of having our expectations dampened, really, and being disappointed in the small things and in the big things. Just to give you a little bit of a background on myself and why I'm even talking about disappointment. About 2 years ago, I had just been given a really great job in California. Pretty much the dream. He was setting up our new home for us while I came back to England just to quickly get my work visa and head back out. And in that time of being back in England, I actually found myself in hospital in a very serious condition where I was there for about 2 weeks, and once I came out of hospital I was told that I wouldn't be able to travel, or especially not to leave the UK for at least 6 months. So that pretty much broke our our expectations of what we thought our lives were going to look for in the near future, and that was a really disappointing time. It just felt like we'd done everything wrong. Maybe we didn't hear God at all of the horrible thoughts that come out when we're trying to make sense and gain some logic behind how these things can happen. As the year came around, Kelly lived in the UK for about 6 months, but at some point we found out he wasn't actually going to be able to be a resident here for some visa issue reasons. So now for the last year we've actually been doing long distance, 7,000 miles apart, 12-hour time difference. It is not for the faint-hearted, and we do absolutely love each other to pieces, and it's definitely worth it to be with him, but it's been a very, very difficult time. So that's a little bit about the disappointment, not to depress anybody. Some of you may know that story anyway, but I'm still living in it, and I've been a little bit hesitant on sharing this part of my life because for me it's not a complete, full-rounded success story or a testimony, but in saying that, I'm going to speak a little bit about how to be victorious and how to not be defined by the difficult circumstances that you may find yourself in. And so for the first year or so of being in this disappointment where we just couldn't get our heads around what was happening, and it felt like every time we took a step there was a no. It was hopeless to us, and we found ourselves in such a hopeless, distressing situation where now we were forced to live in different countries. So I can say that I have had a lot of trial and error with how to manage disappointment, and I have failed so many times, but something that I have found in the last probably nine months, a bit longer, has really been in the truth that God is good. Every time a disappointment came, I was making a choice to detach myself from the belief that God is actually on my side and good. Almost overnight, things had got so much worse. We now weren't living in the same country. It was 3 months down the line with no hope in sight. And the Lord reminded me of Moses in the Bible, who I'd been so fascinated with as a teenager, and how in Exodus 33, Moses asked God, can you show me your glory? And God just simply says, yeah, I will allow my goodness to pass before you. And there's something about that has just stuck with me, and it's almost like I've had an idea and a theology and a thinking process in my mind of knowing that God is good, but practicing it is a whole other thing. And just through this experience that we're going through, it's given me an opportunity to really put into practice some of those beliefs that I thought I held so strongly, that actually in practice weren't coming out so well. Every morning, probably for the last at least 6 months, doing this regularly, where I'd wake up or I'd be on my way to university or just at home, and I'd just say, God, will you show me your goodness today? And it altered, it's so simple, but it altered the way that I was able to approach my day, to approach situations. And through that very simple question, I started to allow God into my disappointment, into my grief, and start to actually rearrange and change my thoughts and ideas. And I've been able to dream again, to see clearly again, to actually have hope for the future. And even though my testimony is not complete, my testimony right now is the fact that lots of things in my life right now, to many would be determined quite the disaster and very painful. And I'm not saying that I don't cry and that I don't get hurt and or frustrated, but I can say that the presence of God, the joy inside me, and the hope that I have for our future is by far the greatest and that I have ever experienced. And there is no way that I could have, just by pure thought alone, be able to mesh together such a stressful situation and such a hopeful mindset. And that God has just come through. He has come through with, for me, it's a miracle. I'm able to sit here and tell you guys in full honesty that even in the midst of a lot of pain and disappointment and grief, that I actually really believe and know to my core that God is good. And so for anybody watching this today, is that just to spend a moment with God and to allow yourself to see beyond the disappointment, to see where your disappointment may have actually be defining what you're dreaming of or not dreaming of right now, and allow God into those places to let His glory, to let His goodness pass before you. Have a great week, everyone. I hope I can see you all soon. Bye.